following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
This is the story of Sugar Shane Mosley.
This is the story of Miguel Cotto.
This is the story of the hottest young rising gunslinger in the sport against a fully established superstar, a potential fight of the year.
The story of Shane Mosley is a love affair with boxing, and boxing has loved him back. The story of Miguel Cotto is that of the consummate professional, and his craft just happens to be prize fighting, and he happens to be damn good at it.
In the boxing hotbed of Puerto Rico, a new heir to a proud fighting tradition has risen. A 27-year-old undefeated welterweight ready to emerge from the shadow of a legendary predecessor.
I'm Miguel Cotto. I'm not Felix Trinidad. I want to write my own story.
5 months ago, this surging Puerto Rican took a new test in the ring. Zab Judah, a fearless former champion with nothing to lose. Miguel Cotto passed the test ferociously.
Move over, Tito Trinidad. There's a new superstar in Puerto Rico.
But in boxing, each rung of the ladder is harder to climb. And for Miguel Cotto, the next rung is Sugar Shane Mosley.
Cotto, to win this fight, would launch him into another stratosphere.
Beating Judah was good. Beating Mosley would be great.
Though you'd hardly know it from his quiet life training in the solitude of the California mountains, Shane Mosley is a 3-division champion. Boxing is the family business here. Shane is trained by his father, Jack, and paced by his 16-year-old son, Shane Jr.
There you go.
He's been in the pro ranks for a decade and a half.
Shane Mosley is out hustling Oscar De Leon.
The only man to defeat the sport's biggest name twice. And following a series of crushing upset losses, recent impressive wins against worthy foes have shown the story of this champion is far from complete.
Another brilliant display by Shane Mosley.
Shane Mosley is an elite fighter because he delivers. When it's time to step up, Shane Mosley wins.
This is the story of Miguel Cotto, a great young fighter who fights older than he is, against Shane Mosley, a great old fighter who fights younger than he is.
This is my story.
This is my story.
This is the countdown for Cotto Mosley. When I was a kid, they would announce me, Sugar Shane Mosley. They knew that when they see me spar or fight, that it was something special about me. It wasn't hard to live up to the name at all, knowing that every time out, I'm going to give 100% all. The name just fit me.
It would be hard to find a place more serene than Big Bear, California. It's amid this tranquility where Shane Mosley transforms himself into a boxing warrior.
It's real crucial for me to separate myself so I can be in the frame of mind that I'm going to war, I'm going to fight, and so I can give my 100% best mentally and physically. That's why I'm up here in Big Bear, training to get away from all the elements that can take you away from being focused.
Far from any spotlight, Mosley says being just another friendly neighbor in this tiny town is the perfect cover for the boxer in training.
He's just a regular guy to us. He's not a celebrity.
It's sort of a special trip to come here because Jamie is a good friend of mine. I always come up here and hang out with the guys here.
I've always noticed Sugar Shane when he comes in, his piercing eyes. You know, it's him, dead giveaway. Everyone comes up here to get away from everything else. He's no different. If you can come up in the altitude, eat this food, and still train, you can kick anyone's ass.
He's always in such good shape. You've been watching him in that training camp? All the girls love it. He's the man. His wife doesn't love that fact.
Under whatever circumstance you were to meet Shane Mosley, you can only come away with one impression. This is a great guy. This is as nice a person, as warm, charitable, generous, and gentlemanly a person as you're ever going to meet in any walk of life. It's fascinating that he is still able, when necessary, to generate a mean streak in the ring and come away victorious in big fights. If he were a little bit more of a jerk, he might have even been a greater fighter, but that just isn't who he was going to be.
Step over there.
Who Shane Mosley was going to be was determined at a young age when he first put on the gloves, with his father and future trainer Jack Mosley watching over him.
Jack never pushed Shane into boxing. Shane found boxing basically when he was a little bit older than a toddler and fell in love with it immediately.
Since he was 8 years old, we have that rapport where, I can tell him to do some things and he'll do it. Head by head. So there's no need to really holler and scream and fuss like some trainers do.
When I get in the ring, it's a reflection of him. He's not only a father, but a trainer, so he wants me to do the best.
Jack Mosley and Shane Mosley have a relationship which I always admired, was the best I'd ever saw in boxing, because Jack Mosley actually let his son grow up, and he always talked to Shane as if Shane was a young man, and that's what kept them together.
Father led son to over 250 wins as an amateur, and then championships in 3 weight classes as a pro, including a welterweight title on a memorable night in Los Angeles in 2000 over Oscar de la Hoya.
Shane Mosley is out hustling Oscar de la Hoya.
People are like, wow, who is this kid that moved up from lightweight to welterweight to win a world title? Now, not just the boxing world knew who I was, but outside the boxing world, they knew that Sugar Shane was the next guy.
For a time, Mosley was considered by many to be the best in the sport, pound for pound. But a pair of losses to Vernon Forrest and then Winky Wright made many wonder if his career was winding down. In 2006, though, Mosley beat Fernando Vargas twice. And earlier this year, he returned to the welterweight class to face Luis Collazo, a fighter 10 years his junior.
Basically, I had to pass the torch and move out the way for the younger guy. That's what everybody was saying. Now, I was a better man that night. I trained very hard. I got the job done.
Not only did he beat a fighter that was a younger fighter, but he beat the fighter at his own game, so he was actually too fast. Of all of the victories in Shane's career, the one that impressed me the most, more so than the fights with even Oscar de la Hoya, was his performance against Collazo.
Shane Mosley, being 36 is the new 30. And it's remarkable at his age that he can still outspeed younger fighters. He's like an old leading man who still gets the girl, the young girl, in the fight.
Camp Mosley bears little resemblance to the scene in Caguas, Puerto Rico.
Shane wants to work out by being quiet and stuff. Puerto Ricans like the noise. All the fighters here are training in public gyms. The gyms are packed, and Miguel is used to this. The little guys, all the children are watching. It's great to have somebody to look up to.
I'm coming from the same situation of those kids. I'm here in this gym since I was 11. I'm a part of this family. I like to stay here with them. Since everybody here was a kid with boxing, I think it's the national sport here in Puerto Rico.
It is a culture in Puerto Rico. We have already more than 50 world champions. And for us being such a small island, to be #1 in the world in anything, it's huge.
Miguel Cotto. Boxers are celebrities in Puerto Rico. Whether they relish fame or not, if you are a very good boxer, you're going to have the public around you and you're going to have the media around you. Right now, Miguel Cotto is the most highly regarded active boxer in Puerto Rico. He's not the most beloved fighter out of Puerto Rico right now. That is Felix Trinidad, who was somebody who would pound his chest and scream Puerto Rico. He fights for the pride of an entire island. Whereas I think Miguel Cotto, really, when you strip him down to it, he fights for himself.
I'm Miguel Cotto. I'm not Felix Trinidad. I talk the less I can, and I'm going to do my work in the ring. My hands talk for me.
His hands and his heart both spoke loudly in September 2005 when Cotto got off the canvas to beat Ricardo Torres in a brutal 140-pound battle.
Miguel Cotto survives a life-and-death challenge from Ricardo Torres.
Cotto then moved up to welterweight late last year and beat Carlos Quintana for a title. With the success, his fan base has grown. In June, Cotto faced Zab Judah at storied Madison Square Garden. And it was the Puerto Rican, not the Brooklyn native, who was mostly responsible for the sold-out crowd.
On the eve of the Puerto Rican Day Parade, they packed Madison Square Garden to the rafters.
In Judah, a former undisputed welterweight champion, Cotto found his toughest battle yet.
And he gets caught with a big left-hand counterpunch.
Miguel took a really hard punch in the first 15 seconds of the fight. He took it like a man. He kept on going.
Both fighters feel a sense of urgency and to want to do damage right away.
Cotto got hurt. Despite the blood, despite the cobwebs in his head, he kept fighting and busting him up.
A relentless, non-stop assault from the Puerto Rican star.
He destroyed him bit by bit. I think that's the worst beating that Zab Judah's ever gotten.
Down on a right hand is Judah. Knockout.
It was a pretty tough fight, you know. Judah was a pretty dangerous boxer, but I put too much pressure on him, and I won.
Beating Judah was good. Beating Mosley would be great.
Back in Big Bear, 16-year-old Shane Mosley Jr. has come to camp for a bit of one-on-one time with his dad. With Junior now taking an interest in boxing, Senior eyes a future in training his son and other young fighters when his own days in the ring are over.
A lot of people think I'm his brother, you know, because I'm like taller than he is. Sometimes he plays it off, you know, like he doesn't say anything about it, but sometimes he's like, nah, that's my son, you know? A lot of times he'll say like, oh yeah, that's my brother.
So it's kind of funny. They look at me, like, wow, that's your father, you know, because he's a little bigger than me now. So definitely, you know, we both kind of look alike.
To me, he's just like any other dad. My dad would always take me to the gym when I was younger, and I never really showed any interest in it. I don't know what it was. One day, I wanted to go down to the gym and box. It's like, Daddy, you know, I sparred today. He's like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna, you know, I think I'm gonna box. And he said, all right, that's cool. I'm gonna start training you. I think he kind of knew I was gonna be a boxer, you know? I think he knew all along, but he was just giving me my time.
I don't want him to be forced into boxing because, you know, I box, that's my thing. But he came to me and said, you know, I want to really, you know, get serious with the boxing.
There you go. Keep that intensity going.
And yeah, now me and my father, we're training, and hopefully by next year he can have his first amateur fight. There you go. There you go. Training is something that I look forward to for my future in boxing. I'm already the top fighter around welterweight, but now I like to be one of the top guys to bring these young guys up to help them to be the best they can be. Hopefully, you know, I can make a difference in their career.
Now here's the speed.
In Caguas, Miguel Cotto is also surrounded by family. His father, Miguel Cotto Sr., owns the gym where he works out, and his uncle, Evangelista Cotto, has been his trainer for his entire career.
You feel more secure to work with your family. Sometimes you need to think not like a trainer, more like a family, and that's the reason of our winning situation.
They respect each other. You can see when you meet his dad and you meet Evangelista, they're very shy people, and they keep all their stuff to themselves. So they're family, they understand each other.
Fui militar por 25 años y ahí no nos enseñan a reírnos mucho. Realmente nunca entendí hasta hace muy poco tiempo atrás cuán importante era una sonrisa. Y quizás pues transmití eso a mis hijos.
It's the best thing I ever had in my life, my dad. The most important reason for myself in this level is my father.
Ha sido un gran placer porque hemos crecido juntos prácticamente. Yo nunca iba a estar tampoco en este nivel y con él pues hemos llegado juntos a donde estamos y estamos experimentando cosas nuevas.
But the road to success as fighter and trainer has not always been smooth for nephew and uncle.
There have been half dozen to a dozen rocky moments between Miguel Cotto and Evangelista Cotto, and I think part of that is that Evangelista isn't terribly bashful about letting you know how important he thinks he is in the development of the fighter's career. To Miguel, that's a distraction. He's not about who gets credit so much as he's about let's focus on the task and win the fights. As difficult as it may be on a daily basis for Miguel to put up with his uncle's style difference, he would miss him in the ring. He would miss the familiarity of that face in his corner if he were to go in and try to fight with somebody else.
I work pretty hard every day. That's the reason I work in this way, you know, because I feel the support of my family. I'm ready for every big step.
Mosley is certainly his biggest step yet, though when he looks across the ring on November 10th, he may see a lot of himself in his opponent.
If you're looking for the second coming of Shane Mosley in a personality sense, it's Miguel Cotto. Mosley even said to me, he said, you know, I sat down and talked with him on our promotions tour, and I thought to myself, it's like fighting me.
He's very quiet, but he's a tiger in the ring. You know, he goes out and he gives 100% all. And me coming up, I was basically the same way, maybe a little more outgoing than Cotto, because Cotto's more reserved. But sometimes the quiet guys are the most dangerous.
Cotto fans are anything but quiet. Yet even when surrounded by adoration in Puerto Rico, he barely cracks a smile.
I can see where Shane can see himself in Miguel because Miguel is so focused. He can shake hands, he can talk with the media, but I don't think Miguel Cotto looks for celebrity and fame. I think Miguel Cotto is a lot like Shane Mosley in that he's 100% fighter. He fights for himself.
No, I'm here for a fight. I'm not here for talk too much to my opponents. I'm here for bring the best show I can bring for my fans.
He's not intimidated by the notion of fighting a Shane Mosley. Miguel understands what Mosley has done, deeply respects him for it, and says to himself, I'm that good too. I'm that good right now.
I've been bowling for a little bit up here, just kind of messing around, and they asked me, if I would like to join the league. It's a little bit of a release, to get away from the actual boxing all the time and the boxing mentality. I've been up here for like 10 years actually, and when I come up here, everybody knows who I am. I'm Sugar Shane, but I'm just one of the guys up here, and we always have a good time. Hey, Jamie.
In Big Bear, Tuesday nights are bowling nights. Alongside waiters, carpenters, and repairmen, Sugar Shane is just another guy trying to knock down a 4-10 split.
That's the Sugar Shane boy. It has some, oh, here it is, right there, engraved. Sugar Shane.
We're a very competitive team, and Shane's a very competitive guy, and that's what we need, a little extra kick on our team.
He saved us this game. I think we'll win, and it's all because of Shane.
I'm doing something different, but I'm using my mind and my focus and my concentration to hit that head pin. And it's helping me with my right uppercut as well. That's my best game this time.
Being cool and calm before a fight comes from experience and confidence in the game plan.
I think that Cotto's style was a style that I've seen so many years in boxing. This is not a fight that I have to really like, okay, what am I gonna do? I know what to do. I'm very technical. I'm almost transitioning to a trainer, so I pick out a lot of mistakes that fighters do.
He will do whatever he has to do to win a fight, and if he has to just go out and throw a million punches in one round, he would do it. But he seems to all the time be aware of how the scoring is going on in a fight, which is unusual for most fighters. The thing that I like about Shane right now at this point in time in his career, he's fighting in what I feel is his proper weight division. He's surprisingly fighting with tremendous speed, good high energy, and physically is a lot stronger than many people think.
Shane Mosley's hand-speed advantage immediately apparent here.
At this point, I can't see nobody beat me at welterweight right now. I just can't see it, but you never know. You get in the ring, and that's what the fight's all about, to see who's the best.
Shane hasn't lost any of that pride, he hasn't lost any of that hunger, and more importantly, he hasn't lost any of that focus.
In October, headlines in the sports section threatened that focus as Mosley's name resurfaced in a new report about the Balco steroids investigation. In 2003, Mosley reportedly admitted to a grand jury that he unknowingly used products containing steroids while training.
Being this, I'm so close to the fight, mentally, I block all that out. I don't look at the news and what they're writing. I know the truth. I gave my testimony, you know, I wasn't guilty. I didn't go to jail for lying. I know in my heart that I wouldn't do anything to cheat another fighter.
Shane is always able to focus. That won't change the outcome of the fight at all.
And at age 36, the outcome of this fight could determine what kind of future there is for Shane Mosley in the ring.
Shane knows that he's a boxing lifer. He also understands that as much as he loves to get in there and fight, he can't do it forever.
When I'm ready to retire, then that's when I retire, when I don't feel like doing it anymore. As far as putting the effort, 100% every time when I fight, I'll just, you know, help my son or some other young guy come up and be the best they can be.
At 4:30 a.m. in Caguas, conditioning coach Phil Landman already has his fighter on the road.
This is my fourth fight with Miguel. I'm here to help him with his nutrition, his conditioning, and his strength work. For the most part, we're taking weaker points, areas where we know that he can improve on and make him a better fighter. For example, he was used to eating well for himself. Right now we're focusing on a lot of vegetables, which is obviously not a big fan of some of those things, but he's doing it, he's doing a great job at it.
The quality of the foods that Miguel eats is way better than what he used to eat when he used to go to the bakery with me.
I have to stay pretty far from my mother's kitchen because I love her food too much.
It was tough in the beginning. I think a bit of a culture shock for Miguel, but I think he has seen that's going to help him in the fight as far as endurance goes.
Before making weight, Miguel used to be the grouchiest person in the world, and right now he's laughing more. Miguel has the proper training and the proper nutrition. I think that makes him a very lethal weapon.
Like any fight, the story here will ultimately be written in the ring. But for the undefeated Puerto Rican, only one ending is an option.
Miguel Cotto's strength is his fierce determination and concentration.
He's a hungry, ambitious young fighter who fights in the all-out, risk-taking style.
Miguel Cotto is willing to take some punishment for the opportunity to deal punishment out. If you allow him to get to your rib cage, he might not just beat you, he might end your career.
He's such a hard puncher, he's a hard kid. It's gonna be hard for anybody to beat him. That includes Shane Mosley.
Shane is a great boxer. He was a great champion, but it's my time. It's my moment to shine.
This is the story of the fast.
I am Sugar Shane Mosley.
And the furious.
I am Miguel Cotto.
This is the fight that can amplify Shane Mosley's existing superstar status or indelibly stamp Miguel Cotto as the rising superstar of the sport.
It's one of the biggest fights of the year because it guarantees all action.
I think the fight's going to live up to its expectations. It's going to be tough all the way to the very end.
I have speed and experience.
Shane Mosley wins big fights. Guess what? This is a big fight. This is a true proving ground for Miguel Cotto.
It's my turn. I am undefeated.
It's possible age becomes an important part of the equation of this fight. Cotto's relentless aggression may break down an older fighter, but seeing will be believing.
Turn the page.
This is the next chapter.
This is going to be a battle of wills. Does Shane Mosley, at his age, need this win so desperately to get to bigger fights that he's going to be able to put it all on the line to try to upend Cotto? Or is the Cotto freight train indelibly entrenched on the tracks that nothing is going to get in his way, even a fighter as good as Shane Mosley? That's what we're going to find out in Madison Square Garden.